What you're looking at here are the results of my first ever attempt at making platinum-palladium prints. It's something I've wanted to try for years, and I finally got up my nerve. And it really isn't all that hard if you can afford all the pieces required. This video is not sponsored, but I'll discuss a lot of products in this video, but I paid for them all with my own money. There will be links in the description if you're interested in these. Platinum-palladium printing is considered by many to be the pinnacle of fine art printing, for a few reasons, and as the fine art photographer, all of these reasons are important to me. Each print is a unique handmade object, which I think has a lot of appeal in this world of mechanical reproductions and the increasing influence of AI. A well-made platinum print is incredibly beautiful and has a timeless quality about it. And platinum prints are made from two noble metals, which makes them quite expensive to produce, but it also means that according to some sources, they could potentially last up to 1,000 years or more without fading if printed on a high-quality paper and properly cared for over time. Now, I consider my photographs to be my legacy, so I love the idea that some of my photographs could outlast me long after I'm gone. And one more cool thing, you don't need a darkroom to make these prints. Since I finally made my first batch of prints, I thought it might be helpful to other potential beginners to talk about my experience. But let's step back. What is a platinum-palladium print? These are handmade photographic prints using UV light-sensitive chemicals on extremely high-quality cotton rag papers manufactured especially for this purpose. These are not your standard watercolor papers you can buy down at the art supply store. They're not inkjet papers. These papers are made for alternative processes. No darkroom is required. You can even work in normal room light as long as the sensitized paper doesn't receive any UV light. I closed my window shades and worked in indirect low-level room light. Modern inkjet prints are gorgeous and probably the best print option in most circumstances. Gelatin silver prints are unbelievably beautiful, and the surface seems richer and deeper than inkjet because the silver is inside the emulsion. The blacks are truly black and not surface level like inkjets. Silver is a precious metal and the prints are special. But the platinum-palladium is the ultimate. It's the print for eternity. It's the print for the discerning photography collector. So let's discuss all the materials you'll need. I'll put a complete bulleted checklist in the video description and on my blog at iCatchShadows.com. To make platinum prints, you'll need a large negative. This can be a digital inkjet negative printed on a transparency film or a real film negative from a large format camera. Platinum-palladium prints are made by the contact printing process, which means the negative is the exact same size as the finished print. I made my negative on my printer using Pictorico transparency film. There are a lot of tutorials out there about how to make the best digital negatives. Some of them use red ink combined with black. I didn't do any of that. I just inverted my image to a negative in Photoshop and flipped it because it should go face down against the paper. Maybe these would be better if I had read a book about digital negs, but no. You can also have negatives imaged onto real black and white film by labs that offer LVT imaging. Here are a couple that I had made a few years ago. They've really jumped in price since then, and they weren't even really very affordable back in those days. You can get them at 4x5 or at 8x10. All the chemicals I used were purchased as a single kit from Bostic & Sullivan, and the kit includes everything you need to get started making platinum-palladium prints. However, you will want to be careful about handling these chemicals in your house. Be sure to follow the warnings and precautions, and don't work near food preparation areas. If you're a beginner, I recommend this complete kit from Bostic & Sullivan. The kit conveniently includes every chemical needed to make prints, but be aware it cost $172 at the time of this video. These 3 vials combine to make the sensitizing solution for the paper. This is the really expensive stuff here, the sodium platinum solution Na2. Look, this is all you get. And notice all the warnings on here. Anytime I see a skull and crossbones, I pay attention. This is the Palladium Solution number 3. This bottle contains a ferric oxalate solution. That's an iron solution, which from what I understand is the chemical that makes it all light sensitive. But you can't leave this in the print because it contains iron and will rust over time. So after the print is developed, you'll need to wash it in a special clearing bath made to remove the unwanted iron chemistry. You can watch it lose the yellow as it washes. You'll need a shot glass or other small glass or plastic container for mixing the platinum-palladium sensitizer solution. This contains the developer, which comes in powder form. Distilled water is recommended for mixing with the developer. Going forward, I'll store the developer in a plastic jug because the developer is reusable. According to a lot of experienced printers on YouTube, the developer can be reused indefinitely and occasionally refreshed with a new developer from time to time. These two combine to make the clearing bath. Just mix a couple of tablespoons of each into tap water to make enough to cover the prints. Anyways, you paint the chemistry onto the sheet of paper using a brush, or some people prefer to use special glass coating rods. Once the paper is dry, you sandwich the negative, emulsion side down, onto the treated surface of the paper, and then place it tightly under glass. That brings us to the paper. You'll need a high-quality paper. 3 types are most recommended, but there are others. The 3 are Platine, Revere Platinum, and Hahnemühle Platinum Rag, which is the one I used for my first prints shown in this video. I have to say this paper is incredible, truly resilient. Even after at least an hour and various chemicals and baths, it dried almost completely flat. Look, I did not even flatten this. I let it air dry overnight, laying flat on a paper towel. This paper must be unbuffered, so don't use a standard watercolor paper that you might buy at the art supply store or the hobby store. It won't accept the chemicals well. I accidentally treated my first sheet on the end papers included with a Platine rag. I couldn't tell in the dim room light that I was working in until the coating was on, so I went ahead and printed it anyways to see what would happen. And as you can see, it didn't work out well, although I kind of like the effect. You'll need a contact printing frame or another way of tightly sandwiching the negative against the paper under glass. You can clamp a sheet of glass with a backing board to simulate a frame, but my attempts at this were unsuccessful. Areas that separated under the glass made out-of-focus pockets within the image. I bought one of these specially designed contact printing frames because even though they're quite expensive, they keep an even pressure across the entire negative. To expose the print, you'll need a UV light source, which could of course be the sun, but for a more controlled situation, use artificially made UV light. Since I wasn't sure how I'd like making these platinum prints or if I would stick with it, I improvised a very low-cost, low-tech setup. I combined a heavyweight cardboard box with some 100-watt LED UV blacklights that I found on Amazon very affordably. A more sophisticated solution may be necessary to pursue Platinum-Palladium printing seriously going forward, but this will definitely get you started as a beginner. Finally, you'll need protective gear like gloves, eye protection, a mask, and potentially an apron to protect your clothing. You'll also need assorted things like a plastic funnel for pouring the developer into a storage container, a glass with water for rinsing your brush, assorted towels for splashes and cleanup. Now let's get into the process. For coating the paper, first you'll coat the paper with enough platinum-palladium chemistry to cover the area of your negative. Combine the chemicals from the 3 vials into a shot glass. I followed the Bostic and Sullivan formula that follows. It makes enough to cover approximately one 8 by 10 inch print. So it's 12 drops of the Ferric Oxalate solution number 1, 12 drops of the Palladium solution number 3, and 6 drops of the 5% sodium platinum solution Na2. Just pour the shot glass onto the center of the paper and brush it across very carefully. Be sure to brush evenly, back and forth, up and down, covering the image area thoroughly. Here's a tip: if you use a brush, be sure to pull and scumble the bristles thoroughly before use to get out any loose hairs. You don't want those getting onto your paper's coating. A lot of people, myself included, enjoy the artistic look of the brushed edges, but you can use low-tack tape for clean edges, or you can simply mat over the rough edges. Allow the paper to dry in dim light for 30 to 45 minutes, or at least until it's good and dry. After the sensitized paper is dry, place it into the contact printing frame with a negative emulsion side down and exposed to UV light. You'll see a latent image when you pull the negative away from the paper. Exposure times vary depending on your method and light source, so you'll need to experiment with times. Mine only takes about 2.5 minutes. To process, you'll need 3 baths. Real darkroom trays work great for this, but large plastic tubs from Walmart will probably do the trick. Bath 1 is the developer, which should be carefully but quickly splashed from a bottle over the entire surface of the print. If you miss an area, it can cause an uneven look in the print. Just lay the paper into the empty tray and pour the developer over it quickly. The second bath is the clearing bath. That removes the iron from the print. It'll look yellow in the highlights before this wash, but that should clear out after about 15 minutes, depending on how much of the 2 chemicals you spooned into the water. And the third tray is the water bath. I allow my prints to float in this first wash while I work, then swap them out to another bath for a long wash period for at least 30 to 45 minutes with frequent agitation and flowing water. Now, an archival print washer is ideal for this, but I washed mine manually with a running tap and several tubs of water. This is important for the print to be truly archival. Then allow the print to dry overnight. Here are my first efforts at Platinum-Palladium printing. As you can see, you won't get blacks with a Platinum-Palladium print. And the prints are not necessarily neutral. They may have a dark warm gray to almost brownish coloration. The outcome can be affected by the temperature of the developer, the exact mixture of your coating chemistry, and even the humidity of the air where you live. I shot this on medium format black and white film in the Mississippi Delta. I shot this old longhorn skull in the dim light of a small honky-tonk in Texas with my iPhone, believe it or not. My first print on the left was exposed for 12 minutes. As you can see, it's way too dark. This was the same print again at 6 minutes, still quite dark. And this was the third try at 2.5 minutes. I'm really enjoying the Platinum-Palladium process, but I think I'll reserve it for only my most appropriate images. Things that I want to offer as extremely rare and special. These will be limited edition prints. These will be the pictures that I want people to see from my eye and my hands hundreds of years from now. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed watching how I made Platinum-Palladiums, and I hope you learned something, and I hope you'll try it. Be sure to visit my website at keithdotson.com.